Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to give you guys a comparison between the Curry Spawn Flotros, Curry 11s, as well as the Flow Future X Elites from Under Armour, and basically give you my thoughts on which shoe is better overall when it comes to a blast from the past and the Curry Spawn Flotros to a glimpse into the future with the Future X Elites, or just the plain old present when it comes to the Curry 11s. So starting off as usual, when it comes to the try-on experience, it is pretty standard in the Curry 11s as well as the Spawn Flotros. You just slide right in and it is a pretty good standard overall experience when it comes to that. While in the Future X, it is a stretchy material and it is all one piece of this intelleknit upper. So it's like putting on a sock initially, and it is a little weird at first, but once you get used to it, it is pretty easy and straightforward. And as far as fit, in the Curry 11s as well as the Spawn Flotros, they are pretty good when it comes to fit. You get a nice one-to-one fit in the forefoot. And when it comes to sizing with that, I would go true to size. While for narrow footers, I will go down half a size, and for wide footers, I would go up half a size. While in the Future X, in my true size, they do run a little long and a little wide. So I'll be mindful of that when it comes to getting yourself a pair of these. And because of that, I will go down half a size because of that. And while for narrow footers, go down a full size. And for wide footers, you should be good to go ordering your true size in that case. Now, as far as the outsole on all of these shoes, they all feature a flow foam outsole with this very aggressive digitized multi-directional traction pattern in all of them, with a slight difference in the spawns with this segmented outsole that you have. And all of them perform very similarly when it comes to the insane grip that you're going to get. So laterally, you're going to be really shifty going from side to side, and at sometimes they're going to be too much in that case. So you do have to get used to, as well as the hard stops as well. When it comes to vertical movements, they are instant and you stop on a dime. And as a result of that, you get a really quick first step as a result of that. And all of these shoes I found to be very similar when it came to that aspect of the shoe, and I really enjoyed it a lot because of that. In all of these shoes, mind you, on dust, they perform very similarly as well. They pick up dust very quickly, and you do have to wipe consistently to get the insane grip that you're going to get. But as far as durability goes, they're very different in some cases. In the Spawn Flotros, they do suffer a little bit when it comes to durability, and it does wear off pretty quickly compared to the Curry 11s, where there is some wear but not as much. While in the Future X, it is very good when it comes to comparing both of them in that case. There is some wear because of the foam outsole that you're going to get, but it isn't as much to my surprise. So when it comes to the overall traction setup, when it comes to the grip and the overall balance in that, when it comes to getting used to it, and the durability as well, I'm going to have to give it to the Future X, mainly because of how durable it is compared to the Curry 11s as well as the Spawn Flotros. Now, when you get into the cushion, all of these shoes feature the same flow midsole, along with a built-in TPU shank that is in the midfoot and extends to the forefoot. And when it comes to the experiences in each shoe, they were vastly different. But aside from the forefoot cushioning, they were pretty much the same, with the exception to the Flow Future X, where you do get an extreme bounce. All of these shoes are very responsive in that case. You are able to be really quick and reactive on the court. But in the Spawn Flotros, I did find it to be a little more flexible because of these ridges that you get on the outsole. While on the Curry 11s as well as the Future X, it is just stiff midsole in general in that case. But they all are very responsive and have some bounce on top of that, with an explosive bounce in the Future X. So I really like that when it came to the Future X Elites. However, in the heel cushioning, I did get varying results. In the Curry 11s, it was the worst of the bunch. It literally felt like bricks when it came to the heel cushioning, and the impact protection wasn't that great. In the Future X, it is a slight improvement, but it is pretty standard when it comes to the overall feel in the heel, and the impact protection was pretty good on top of that. In the Spawn Flotros, to my surprise, the heel cushioning was actually kind of soft. It had a nice compression under your foot, but it is overall a firm setup because of the flow midsole itself. So when it comes to the overall cushioning, I liked it in the Curry Spawns a little bit more compared to the Future X. And the Curry 11s, in my experience, they were the worst of the bunch, mainly because of the heel cushioning. So as far as cushioning, I would go with the Curry Spawn Flotros, with the Future X being a close second. Now, as far as materials, each shoe went a slightly different route when it comes to the overall setup. In the Curry 11s, it is a bunch of materials such as textiles, as well as their Under Armour Warp Upper, with some mesh lining as well, which was very comfortable overall, and I didn't experience any pinching at all in the midfoot as well as in the forefoot. In the midfoot, you get a nice tongue that is nicely padded, that way you won't experience any pinching in that case, and the heel padding is adequate in that case. And the Flow Future X, it is basically just a very thin, stretchy material, also known as Under Armour's intelleknit, which is very nice and conforming around your foot, but is very lackluster when it comes to padding. But overall, the main padding that you're going to get is these heel pads that you're going to get, which are pretty comfortable in the heel, and I liked it overall. In the midfoot, there's surprisingly no pinching overall with these really soft laces that you get, so it was a pretty comfortable experience. But the most comfortable of the bunch, in my opinion, was the Curry Spawn Flotros with this fuse overlays that you get, along with this really soft mesh material. Feels like butter on your foot, and it molds to your foot really well, and it feels like you are one with the shoe. So I really like the overall experience when it came to the Spawn Flotros. All of these materials are looking really nice in my opinion. I do like the overall aesthetics in the Spawn Flotros, with the Curry 11s being a close second. The Future X, in my opinion, looks like you're on a boat, in my opinion, and it feels like you're floating in that case because of this thick midsole. But overall, when it comes to aesthetics, I like the Spawn Flotros a little bit more with the Curry 11s. But when it comes to overall materials, you can't go wrong with either of them, but I liked the materials more in the Curry Spawn Flotros, in my opinion. Now, when you move into lockdown, they're all very good, aside from the Future X. When it comes to the sizing that I experienced, you have to make sure you get the right size. And when you get the right size, the lockdown is phenomenal in that case. It is the same story with the Curry 11s as well as in the Curry Spawns. In the forefoot, because of the one-to-one fit, you're not going to move around at all. And as well as in the midfoot, it is really nice and conformed, and the lacing system that you have harnesses it really tight, that way you won't move around in the midfoot especially. However, in the Curry 11s, I did experience some heel slippage, mainly because of the overall structure that you get. There isn't as much padding, and it is a low top overall, so you will experience some heel slippage in that case. While in the Curry Spawn Flotros, it is a high top, and you do get really good ankle support, that way it wraps all around your ankle and you won't experience any heel slippage in that case. And in the Future X, regardless of the fit that I had, the midfoot was really nice, as well as in the heel. It wraps around your ankle really well, that way you won't experience any heel slippage because of that. Just be mindful that you need to get the right size to get the best overall lockdown, and if you do, this is the best when it comes to lockdown, in my opinion. Now, as far as support, all these shoes tick the box when it comes to overall torsional support. Each shoe has an embedded TPU shank that is in the midfoot and extends to the forefoot, giving you really nice rigidity overall in the shoe and really good balance on top of that. So you're going to be good to go when it comes to overall torsional rigidity in the shoe and the overall balance in the shoe in that case. However, when it comes to lateral support, I would give it to the Curry Spawns because of this external outrigger that you get from the foam itself, and you get additional lateral support from the foam that you sit in a little bit, as well as the fuse overlays that you get. In the midfoot, it wraps up to the material as well, that way you won't have any instability in the midfoot. And in the heel, you do get an internal TPU heel counter and these flared and the flared midsole that you get that prevents any instability in the heel especially. So lateral support is really good in that, as well as the Curry 11s. However, there is no outrigger in that case, so it is flat, so you're mostly relying on the material itself, which has some rigidity to it, and you do sit in the midsole itself, that way you won't have any rollovers in that case. And in the midfoot, you also get some foam that wraps up to the material, that way you won't have any imbalance in the midfoot. And in the heel, you do get a double dose of a heel counter with this external one as well as an internal one. along with the slight flare in the midsole, with the midsole wrapping up, especially with this plastic piece right here, giving you extra support in the heel. However, in the Future X, because of this really thick stacked midsole that you have, you do sit in the midsole a little bit to help prevent you from any imbalances inside the shoe when you're doing lateral cuts. But there isn't an outrigger, so there is a slight chance that you might have a bad footwork, and as a result of that, you will roll your ankle a little bit. But there is some rigidity in the material, that way you won't have the material give out on you when you're doing lateral movements. In the midfoot, it is really good with this plastic piece, that way you won't have any imbalance in the midfoot especially. And in the heel, you do get an internal TPU heel counter, as well as the midsole being flared out a little bit, that way you won't have any imbalances in the heel. But when it comes to the overall support, I'm gonna have to give it to the Curry Spawns, mainly because of the outrigger, and the base is nice and flat as well compared to the other two. And my experience, the bases are pretty similar when it comes to the overall width, but I like the base more because it is more flat in my opinion. So when it comes to support, I'm gonna have to give it to the Curry Spawn Flotros. So to sum everything up for you guys, all of these shoes are pretty good. In the Curry 11s, I did like the traction as well as the responsiveness and the cushioning, along with the materials that conform really well to your foot, as well as the lockdown that you get, which is pretty standard aside from the heel slippage that you get. And the support is good overall, aside from the lack of an outrigger that you have. But the main downfall of this shoe was the heel cushioning. Considering that it is a dual density flow foam, I thought it would be a little soft, but it is feeling like a brick when I play in these, and I didn't really like it. So this is the main downfall when it comes to the Curry 11s. In the Flow Future X, this is by far the best when it comes to the overall like performance standpoint, with the outsole being really good and really grippy, and the durability is the best out of the three. In the cushioning department, it is the bounciest as well. It has a really nice pop, with the cushioning and the heel being just okay in my opinion. But when it comes to the overall like stacked midsole, I don't really like it, and is iffy when it comes to support because of that. So it is mainly the downfall of this shoe, the support in that case. So everything else about it is great, with the traction, cushion is pretty good, along with the materials itself. With the lockdown, really good, depending on the size that you get. But the overall look is quite bulbous in my opinion with the midsole, and the support is iffy because of that. So when it comes to the best out of the three, I'm going to have to give it to the Curry Spawn Flotros. The outsole is really grippy and really good, and the durability isn't great, so be mindful of that when you're playing these. But the cushion is really nice, with a nice flexibility to it, with some responsiveness and bounce on top of that. And the heel cushioning is the softest of the three. It has a nice softness to it, but it is overall firm in that case. And I did like the overall feel when I was playing in this. And the overall material is by far the best that I felt out of the three, with the nice buttery feel that I had. And as a result of that, it molded really well to my foot, and I felt like I was one with the shoe, and because of that, the lockdown was overall phenomenal in that case. And the support is really good, and it is the only one with an outrigger that bulges outward, that way you have extra lateral support in that case. And I really enjoyed playing it overall, and it is the cheapest of the three, going at $130, $140 in this colorway, mind you, with the Future X being $150 and the Curry 11s being $160, which is kind of a disappointment in that case. So when it comes to the best shoe out of this three, I'm gonna have to give it to the Curry Spawn Flotros. Thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Comment down below on what you think is the best out of these three, between the Curry 11s, Spawn Flotros, as well as the Future X Elites. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, and if you have any other questions, feel free to comment down below as well. If you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below, and it'll greatly support the channel as well. If you like to see the reviews of these shoes, I will leave a link to my performance review compilation on this side of the screen right here. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I will leave all that information in the description box below as well if you guys would like to stay up to date that way. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys on what is the best out of these three. And until next time, keep shooting.